The doctor comes in after the MRI, and she says, well, I got news for you. You do have a tumor in your head, and we have to this is literally what she said. We have to operate at 7 a.m. to save your life. Now, I'm breaking up in the back, but Bryce was taking it. This is what he said to the doc. Doc, it's okay. Just sew me up tight. I have a flight to catch in 2 weeks to cheer on my teammate. They're going to need me.
Welcome, everybody, to our last episode for Season 5. It's so hard to believe that this is how far we've come. We are thick into the holiday season, and we will be on a short hiatus, and we will be back for Season 6. We have so many amazing guests that we will be meeting with and talking to, and a couple of special appearances, so I am so excited for that. But in the meantime, I want to focus a little bit on today's guest because this is a very special story. It is a story that has profoundly touched my heart, and I'm really hoping that it touches yours. I'm hoping it gives all of you a little bit of hope going into not only a dark time of year as we head into winter and the shortest time of the year, but also as we enter the holiday season and as we really are struggling, for some, with health issues and family crises. This story, it's really powerful and it's inspirational, and it has touched my heart. Our guest today, he made a statement once about his battle against brain cancer, saying to let God do his work. Take it one step at a time, figure out the little things that you can do, and let him worry about the big picture. That is a powerful statement from somebody so young who has been battling brain cancer. The power of prayer, of faith, not only provides hope, but it is scientifically shown to reduce stress and anxiety, to foster a positive mindset, and it helps us frame our tragedy or struggle into meaning and purpose. It allows us to turn our struggle into strength and address all aspects of the journey, which includes holistic healing. Christopher Reeves once said, "Once you choose hope, anything is possible." Now, this is coming from a man who was a quadriplegic and whose whole life was altered. He wasn't even supposed to survive, but he did. Now his life was forever changed, but he still had a tremendous impact on the world around him because of his circumstances. Hope and faith are synonymous. You can't have one without the other, at least not in my opinion. Mike and I had printed out this saying that we kept up on the fridge during his cancer fight, and it gave us a lot of strength when we needed it. And I am not kidding when I say I stared at this often. Faith is daring the soul to go beyond what the eyes can see. That's what faith is. It's believing in something that we don't know to be true. For certain. We believe, therefore we know. Just as a child believes in the magic of Christmas without understanding what the holidays are because they're so young. It's this idea of allowing ourselves to let go of control, to tame really dark thoughts so that positive thoughts can take root. That alone has a physiological effect on our body. It reduces inflammation. It promotes a rise in cortisol levels. It can make our bodies feel better. And it affects our mental wellness. I have a friend who recently gave birth to fraternal twins. Now, their plan was never to have a set of twins. They already had a little girl. They just wanted one more baby. But it was the universe's design that they get pregnant with twins. Now, she's a woman of faith, and early in her pregnancy, the doctors told her, that one of the babies would not survive, that she would not give birth to twins. One of the fluid sacs around one of the babies was diminishing, and there was a good likelihood that she would have a stillbirth, and they thought it would be best for her health and for the other baby's health to go in and terminate that particular baby, in all honesty. And it's hard for me to even say those words. But she is a woman of faith, and she said no. Now, there was a risk to her health. There was a risk of compromising the other baby, who had a very healthy fluid sac and was growing very normally. But all the tests, all the ultrasounds were showing that, yes, the fluid sac had been much thinner. Yes, the baby was a lot smaller, but there was a chance. And so she held on to hope, and she held on to her faith, and she prayed, and she let go of control, and she went forward. In her mind, there was still a chance that this baby could survive. The further along she got, the more she worried, and the more hiccups there became. But she gave it to God. A few months ago, she gave birth against all odds and against the doctor's advice to 2 healthy babies. And she carried almost to full term. And the baby that had the reduced fluid sac is now home and doing well and thriving. And she gives us, credits all of this to her belief and her faith in God. It is challenging to have faith in hard times, to relinquish control to something that we don't know is truly out there. But isn't that what hope is? Giving up control and not knowing an outcome in advance is hard even in the best of times. But as Reeves said, when you have hope, anything is possible. Faith is a powerful thing. And during a season where we could really use some miracles, our guest story today will leave you feeling an abundance of hope, of faith, and maybe, just maybe, believing in something greater than us at play out there in the universe. And I think that that is something we could all use a little bit more of right now. And so regardless of your faith journey or your background, please know that none of this is to promote or push an idea or an idealistic view or cultural mindset. Honestly, it is such a powerful, beautiful story, and it's just to give us all a little bit of hope, a little bit of comfort. This idea that, yeah, maybe there is something greater than us out there in the universe, regardless of what your faith background is. And because this is something that has really helped me during very trying times, and so it is something that I believe. Our guest, Bryce Newman, and his parents will join us next.
This season of the Game On Glio podcast is sponsored by GT MedTech and Gametile Therapy. Learn more at gametile.com. This season is also sponsored by MVAX, personalized whole tumor-derived immunotherapy. Learn more at mvax.com. This episode is sponsored by Cypress Therapeutics. Chemistry is the core of our innovation. Learn more at cypresstx.com.
This episode is sponsored by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Healthcare that's a better fit for your life right now. Learn more at highmark.com.
This episode is sponsored by Cortana Pharma, developing highly targeted therapies for brain cancer. Learn more at cortanapharma.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. We are joined by some very special guests here today. And I want to start off by introducing Bryce Newman. Bryce was a 15-year-old with a very promising career as a baseball player, and it was cut short when he was diagnosed with medulablastoma, which is an aggressive form of pediatric brain cancer. After multiple treatments and many surgeries, by all accounts, Bryce was at a very low point in his fight against his cancer. when a surprise gathering at his high school changed the trajectory of his life. His family, his friends, and classmates called it a miracle. Now 23 years old, Bryce has graduated with a bachelor's degree from the University of California. He's got a master's in sports management from Texas A&M. He is a student manager for Olympic sports at Texas A&M. He has started the foundation Miracle Children's Foundation alongside his parents, Richard and Nicole, who all join us today. And we also have an inspiring and very successful movie that was made from Bryce's story. So I'm so grateful to all of you for joining us today, for sharing your story and in the hopes of helping others. And I will preface this by saying that this is a faith journey, a faith story. And for all of you out there who are not sure what your faith looks like right now, or if you're not sure if you even believe, that is okay. We are not here to promote any one belief. We are just here to share some magic, a bit of faith, a bit of honesty, and let all of you know that the power of hope means so much to so many, especially during really hard times. So, Bryce, I want to start with you because this impacted you greatly. You were only, was it 15 years old, or were you younger when you were diagnosed? And walk us through a little bit of how, like, what led to you actually finding the diagnosis?
Yeah, so you're right, 15 years old. It was actually so it was the summer after my freshman year of high school, going into sophomore. So 15, a couple weeks away from turning 16, the big 16, where I was supposed to get a car. Anyway, and
Priorities.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, diagnosed a couple weeks away from I was a big baseball player, and I made this team called Team USA in San Diego, and we were going to represent the Stars and Stripes, represent the U.S. In Nagoya, Japan. A couple of days away from that flight, and was diagnosed with brain cancer
At 15 years old. You know, Nicole and Richard, and feel free, whoever wants to chime in first. Your son, 15, almost 16 years old, what led to you guys bringing him in? You know, what triggered you guys saying, okay, we need to go to the ER or get him looked at? Were there pretty outward signs that something was wrong, or was it very subtle? Because I know with brain cancer diagnoses, the symptoms vary dramatically.
So Bryce, for about 3 or 4 months, he was having these bad migraines. And we took him to the ER literally 4 times prior to the last time. And every time they basically came back and said, hey, it's just he's got stress headaches. He's on Team USA baseball, San Diego. He's a young kid, looking into girls, that kind of things. And so here, take some extra strength Tylenol and you'll be fine. So that happened for 3 months. And he hadn't had these type of headaches ever before. But the moment that I knew actually, I was at the practice. So it was it was the last practice that Team USA San Diego was having before their trip to Japan. And Bryce, he was up to bat, roped a double into center field, and running to first base, it literally looked like a sniper. Probably it's wrong. It literally looked like somebody he'd been shot and fell down. His feet just went out from underneath him. That was just just not normal.
Yeah.
And so we got back. He had a headache that night and went back to sleep. And I was talking with a friend of ours that has experience. Actually, she worked for a biotech company that it works on brain cancer. And I explained something. And I told her about the symptoms. He said, Rick, you need to call the doctor. The doctor's name was Richard Ostrup in San Diego. And I credit him more than anything, actually. You need to call this man and tell him what's going on, because I think there's an issue. And sure enough, I called him and he said, look, get back over to Rady, get him to get an MRI. I'm telling you, I'm preparing you ahead of time. Your son's probably got a tumor. Everything you just said, he's got a tumor. So get him there. And this is literally what he told me. He said, look, if they don't want to give you an MRI or a CAT scan, raise Cain. You're going to have to advocate for your kid, because I'm telling you, you need to. Don't go to jail, but
Good advice.
definitely tell them, raise Cain and tell them that this isn't going to be. Anyway, worst case scenario, he said, if they won't give him an MRI, walk across the street. He was the head of neurology at the adult hospital across the street. I'll have it all set up and done. So that's how it all came to fruition. I'll tell you a little bit about when he was told. So it was at 2 a.m. in the morning. As Nicole said, I was with Bryce at the emergency room, and the doctor came in. They were a little mad because I did have to raise Cain to get this done. And they were mad. You're telling us how to do our job, that kind of thing. And so the doctor came in, and I'll never forget this night because it makes me mad in a lot of ways, but the way he reacted was unbelievable. So I'm behind him. The doctor comes in after the MRI, and she says, well, I got news for you. You do have a tumor in your head, and we have to this is literally what she said. We have to operate at 7 a.m. to save your life. Now, I'm breaking up in the back. I'm doing everything. I've got to be the strong one. And I'm kind of glad Nicole wasn't there because I know she would have started crying immediately. But Bryce was taking it. This is what he said to the doc. Doc, it's okay. Just sew me up tight. I have a flight to catch in 2 weeks to cheer on my teammate. They're going to need me. I'm not.
Oh my.
That's what he said. Dead set into her eyes. And then of course she turns around and says, son, you're not going to Japan.
Wow.
That's when he started to cry. So I know it brings up a lot of memories. I'm sorry.
No, I speak about this often, this need to advocate, and having what we call white coat syndrome, where you just automatically nod your head in agreement with whatever you're being told. Well, we know ourselves better than anybody else knows us. And so it's powerful, and it's important that that's what you did, because your son wouldn't be here today if you guys had not advocated and taken the reins and said, no, we're done listening to you. We need to do what's best for him because we know something's wrong.
Yep.
So, Nicole, when you got to the hospital, when all of this started unraveling, and your 15-year-old son is going in for surgery to save his life, and you guys still don't know exactly what you're dealing with, just that he's got a tumor in his brain. What was going through your mind? I mean, how did you guys approach the next steps after that? Because that had to have been really overwhelming to walk through.
Yeah. Overwhelming is a great word. Yeah. I don't even know, really, honestly, how we got through that. Rick called me, crying because, like I said, they kept saying it was just a headache, all that kind of stuff. So when you hear it, you don't believe it. And then I think you just alluded to it. You kind of go with whatever the doctors are going to do. You don't have there is no one going to prepare you for, making decisions at that point. And you don't even know what your decisions are. Looking back, I was actually shocked with some of the things that you kind of sign away. But you just go with the faith. I had faith that he was at the right place and that the doctors were going to take care of him. I mean, that's what you have to do, I guess. So that's what
she actually did. If you don't mind me interrupt, Nicole said the right place. Like you were saying earlier, you got to take it in your own hands. They, when they come to you and tell you, which is kind of unfair, when they said they've got to operate at 7 a.m. in the morning to save your son's life, that's what they told all of us. What are you going to say? Yes. Right. And you're in shock. They actually had told us because of the location of where the tumor was, it was more than likely going to be medulablastoma cancer. They kind of knew it ahead of time, but they did say, but that doesn't mean it's going to be, but that's where medulablastoma is. So, we sat there and go, you say yes, save his life. But that wasn't the case. We could have waited a day, found, made sure we've got the best surgeons or the best hospital, because brain cancer is not a joke. We were blessed. We were blessed that we were in a very good hospital and had an incredible surgeon. And I actually was trying to move us to St. Jude, and Nicole put her foot down and said no. And she was right. No, we're at the right hospital. It's home. His friends can see him, and he can be part of it. And thank you, Nicole, because she was right.
So, Bryce, walk us through. You get this surgery done. I mean, your passion at that point was baseball, was sports. You're thinking about wanting to drive and all of these first experiences that every teenager has. We've all been there. We've all had those. You get excited for that next chapter in your life. And here you are trying to relearn certain things all over again, knowing that you're going to have to go through cancer treatments. How did that feel for you? How did you handle knowing that I'm not going to get back to the thing that I really love, at least right now? Kind of walk us through your mindset as a 15-year-old walking through this.
Yeah, it was crazy. So when I initially went into the ER room in the hospital to figure out what was going on, I had no idea what was happening. It was way too early in the morning to be thinking. And so when they told me, I have to have emergency surgery in a couple hours or whatever to save my life, for me, it was, sew me up. I gotta, like Dad was saying, sew me up. I got a flight to catch. I got to play with my teammates and stuff like that. Honestly, I had no idea what was happening. And, being so passionate about sports, I was more upset of letting my teammates down and being not being there and everything. And so that when the doctor told me not that I wasn't going to be on that flight, it kind of hit me hard that my playing days might be over, kind of thing. And fortunately, technically, I guess I could have got back on the field, but with the way I trained and everything, I wouldn't have got back to, the level of caliber of player that I was. And I decided to hang up my cleats and kind of pivot and use that passion for baseball and focus on the, quote unquote, behind the scenes kind of thing. And so that's where, I went on to earn, I earned my major in communication, but my minor was in sport management. At the time, they didn't offer that as a major. And then fell in love with that curriculum at UC Santa Barbara and went on to Texas A&M, where I earned my master's degree in sport management. And I'm using that now as using that passion and for sports and for baseball in particular to do better things.
And make us seamless. By the way, go ahead, Bryce. Ask her audience.
Yeah, well, so, gosh, I am a recent graduate. Hopefully, if any listeners are out there, I am ready to. I'm willing to work. I am ready. Again, earned the master's in sport management, and so put me to work.
Yeah.
We've got a very talented young man out there, everybody. So.
But by the way, I want to, just because of the car thing. No, he got a car. This was his car. That's the car he got from Make-A-Wish in Edmonton. Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay,
yeah.
he definitely got a car.
Yeah. I'll give you a better picture of it. So.
That is stunning.
That's him in the background.
Can I say, to your point, he did his path changed. He wasn't the typical looking forward that most 16-year-olds do. And his looking forward, once he got over the heartbreak of sports, at least playing them, was, looking forward to surviving and what can I do to help others and all that. So, put aside the car, which was wonderful and such amazing people behind it for the first, and, missing out on so many experiences that high school people get to go through. He's had a different path with tons of things to look forward to.
And that's a remarkable piece of the story because, at 15, 16 years old, not everybody's mindset goes there. There are a lot of people, whether you're a teenager or an adult, where your first thoughts are, poor me. Why me? Why did this happen? My life is done. My life is over. And Bryce, you didn't do that. I even have a quote where you had said at one point, let God do his work, take it one step at a time, figure out the little things that you can do and let him worry about the big picture. And that is a really, really powerful statement, especially given everything that you've gone through. And it kind of leads me into my next question, and this is for all of you, but faith really played a very important role in this journey. And I want to preface it by saying Bryce didn't just have one surgery. There was multiple surgeries. There was a recurrence, 4 surgeries. Okay, so 4 brain surgeries. Now, that in and of itself, even if a tumor is benign, when you have to go in and open up the brain that many times, it leaves scar tissue. It can affect your cognition, your quality of life, even if a tumor is benign. So to have that many surgeries, there was a recurrence. You guys were looking at experimental treatments because you were running out of options at that point. How did faith play a role in Bryce's recovery? Bryce, you're one of a very rare few who has lived with and survived aggressive brain cancer this long. It's a remarkable story. So just explain a little bit about how faith really played such a pivotal role in this journey for all of you.
Yeah, faith really played, a significant role. And I grew up Catholic, went to a Catholic high school. I always knew that, God's got a plan. And like that quote was kind of saying, like, worry about the little things. The plan's there. He's going to take about the rest. Focus on what's happening right now, what you can do about it. But don't look too far in the future. Just worry about the present.
I do want to bring one point in, and then Nicole, I can tell you this, Nicole is the one that's was the spearhead on the religion side, making sure that Bryce was, had his first communion, getting him involved with the what school, what did you do at
St. James?
No, at Cathedral, the group that you were in. But
campus ministry.
Campus ministry.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I think what I saw from Bryce the entire time of this, which blows me away, and maybe Nicole can chime in on it, is that he always said he's not worried, he's not afraid that cancer's gonna take him, that God has got this. Literally, we're freaking out. Nicole and I are freaking out, and he the whole time, like, I heard this I heard that on an interview. Basically, oh no, I didn't have any concerns. I'm like, God, we were freaking out.
And Richard, you had said at one point that you were struggling with your faith during this journey, that you were really questioning things. Can you speak a little bit about that, and then I'll jump to Nicole, because I think that is something that you're not human if you don't have doubts once in a while, and we're allowed to have doubts, and we're supposed to bring those to him. And so tell us a little bit about that journey for you, that experience.
I'm probably never going to heaven at this point because I had lost faith completely, and so much so, and every day I'm embarrassed by it, but it's factual and I learned from it. But I literally lost faith, and Bryce, we were at a phenomenal hospital in San Diego called Rady Children's Hospital, one of the best in the country. I had completely lost faith in God because I didn't believe that what Bryce was going through was fair, because, as Nicole can tell you, the child, he was never punished. He had straight A's. And so it didn't make sense to me. He was such a good kid. Bringing back, so I'll tell you what kind of a kid. He's just lost 9 years of his life fighting for baseball, playing baseball, because that's what he dedicated to get on Team USA San Diego. He understands the situation he's in, yet what he's doing, while he's actually getting treatment for brain cancer, he's selling T-shirts at his school to raise for cancer. In 2 years, he raised $40,000 selling T-shirts. I never want to sell T-shirts again. At $10 a T-shirt, you do the math. That was a lot of T-shirts we sold.
Yeah.
but he's out there doing that. So an incredible person. But my faith journey, I was in the back, literally. I knew there was a God, but I couldn't understand it. So I was on the back every night at 2 a.m. on the stairwell, because we lived in the hospital for almost 2 years, screaming at 2 a.m. at God, telling him literally, my I don't know whether I'm going to be looking at you face to face or screaming up top to you, but we're having what is called a Sunday come to Jesus meeting about this, because it wasn't right. And I was asked to put it on me. Put it on me. Let him live his life. But I lost it. And do I feel guilty today? That Catholic guilt will stay until my feet are pointing up. That Catholic guilt's going to be there.
That Catholic guilt will really get you.
Okay, God, you had this. I got it. But I'm a dumb human. What do you expect me to say?
So Nicole, for you, I hear Richard talking about this and his struggle, finding his way back. How did you navigate your journey with it? I mean, because it's fair to say, I mean, you guys are watching your child, and I've seen a lot of other people go through that same, especially when it's your child, because children they're pure, they're innocent, they haven't been in the world long enough yet. And so when something this aggressive happens, how is that possible that we can allow something like that? You would allow something like that. So what did your faith journey look like, and how did you stay connected to it through all the ups and downs?
Well, I guess anyone who's ever had a child, sick or injured or whatever, you definitely makes you pray, right? It makes you and hope to gosh that there is someone in charge. And I believe there was, because Bryson believed there was, and he was, so strong. Who am I to break down when he's being so strong, right?
Yeah.
I think I just knew that we were, like I said, in the right place, but Bryson seemed to know that he had it. And I mean, did I ever doubt? Of course. I mean, they told us so many times that, he had very small chance. And I just had to believe. There was nothing else I could do. I just had.
This really speaks to, and I'm going to bring this up, Bryce, in a second, because Nicole, you say, I just had to believe. I didn't have any other choice. I just had to. And Mike and I used to have a saying that we kept on the fridge during his diagnosis that was called, the quote was, faith is daring the soul to go beyond what the eyes can see. And that's really what faith is. And Bryce, it sounds like, your parents are your parents. There's a lack of control. You have no control when something like this happens to your child, to your spouse, to the person you care about most. And while they struggled, you seemed to really be kind of the epicenter of staying grounded in your faith. And so before I dive into the next question, which brings us to our miracle point, how is it that at 15 years old, you were so sure that God had this, that you were just going to give this to him and you were going to keep, with all of the ups and downs, how did you stay so grounded in that?
I think I stayed grounded by, just focusing on the now kind of things. And, I think my faith was a major part of that. Like I said, growing up Catholic and attending a Catholic high school, and to now, I just know that there is a plan. That it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of cheesy when all those athletes and stuff, or at least when I've been around them, they're all talking about like, let the plan roll out, and it didn't click for me, being an athlete and being around that, and I was just I was agreeing with them, but I didn't have my, I didn't throw my 2 cents in there. I was trying to figure out what was happening, and then going through what I did in medical, my health and everything, my treatments and stuff, it started to click that, yeah, there is a plan. At playing sports, I don't know, maybe wasn't part of the plan at the level I wanted to be at, but impacting other people's lives and trying to be a good role model was part of that plan.
So let's dive into the day. This day.
This was another, by the way, this was a reason. I brought this little dog up here for a reason. For all your listeners, the parents out there, one thing that helped Nicole and I tremendously is we got this dog as a therapy dog for Bryce. And that gave him what we didn't understand, but it was exactly what was needed. It was God was sending us in the right direction. It gave him a will to want to live for the dog because he loved this dog.
Well, I don't mind that the dog is sitting on your lap. My two dogs are literally like on the couch right behind the camera. So I keep muting this every once in a while when I see them moving around. So I think that's great because dogs are very therapeutic and I've leaned on mine.
I tell your listeners, if they have a child that has cancer, get them an animal to love because that will give them a will to want to fight for sure.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic. And it's an adorable dog. So, Bryce, tell me, okay, so because you were such a passionate athlete and you were so dedicated to the teams that you played with in high school, there was a pivotal moment where, now I want to stress to everybody too that Bryce was given a 5% chance of survival, 5% chance. And for those of us in
5 years out, 5%, 5 years out.
Yeah, and only 5 years out. And those of us who have walked glioblastoma and other brain cancers know that even 5 years is being generous. The statistics are not kind. And yet there was a pivotal moment where you had a recurrence. You were looking at experimental treatments. You guys were kind of at the end of your rope on what to do next. And you went to school. Now, can Bryce walk me through that particular day? What brought you to the school? Did your classmates or friends say, hey, we just need you to come down to the field to help us out? Because you didn't know what was coming, did you?
No, I had no idea what.
Okay. So walk us through kind of what happened that day.
Yeah, so we were set. We were all, good to go. We were all lined up for we were going to an experimental trial down at the University of Florida in Gainesville. I don't know the time is a few days before that. When I was going down to Florida, my high school called me up, and I guess they didn't want to say it to me to kind of save my feeling or not hurt my feelings, but it was kind of a final goodbye type of thing. And anyway, so they phrased it as just come down and have lunch or whatever it was, and with some friends. And so they asked me who friends that I wanted to see, and I couldn't think of anyone in particular, so I was like, why not the whole school? And so they invited me to their school, on campus, and that was the weirdest part. When I was on campus, it was kind of a overcast day, so it was kind of chilly, and I was just getting done with chemotherapy and radiation and all that stuff and treatments, and so I was just over 100 pounds or whatever it was. I was very skinny and always chilly and always shaking, shivering from the cold. Anyway, so I stepped on campus and I got this sensation. Well, so I stepped on campus initially and I stopped shivering altogether. And then once they called me into the stadium to hold this prayer over me with the entire school, since it was a religious Catholic school, they held this prayer over me and I got this warm sensation. Like the only way I can relate it to is when you take a towel out of the dryer and sorry, I'm tearing up. And
that's what this is all about.
Yeah. And so it felt like when you take a towel out of the dryer and you wrap it around your body. But for me, it was coming from within and it was, radiating from within me. And I was blown. I felt like I was going to pass out from the heat. and it was a really special moment.
So I want to paint this picture because so you walked into the field, and it wasn't just your teammates, it was everybody, all of your classmates, everybody was there, and you stood in the center, and everyone just laid their hands on you, and it was almost like a domino effect, right? Like they were laying hands on each other to lay hands on, like it was kind of like everybody was touching each other to touch you, and you were at the epicenter of this.
Right. So yeah, it was the whole school was there, freshmen, the seniors, all the school, all the staff, everyone was there, and yeah, it was held at the football stadium on the bleachers, Manchester Stadium, and yeah, it was really special.
And they prayed over you.
They prayed over me. Yeah. Father Marvin, a good friend of mine. Yeah, it was insane. It was it was miraculous.
So Nicole, were you guys there when this happened?
Yes. And it was awe-inspiring, really, because we didn't know what we were walking into. We thought we were maybe going to a lunch to say goodbye to some people. And it was a stadium full of people who cared about all of us and who were sending, their prayers, their belief, their everything to all of us. I mean, my mamas that were there with their, that we were a tight group, they were all there standing on the field, literally holding me up. It was very overwhelming in the best way possible.
So this happens. So Bryce, this prayer takes place, and everybody's there, and it's this overwhelming feeling. What you were on your way to, when were you supposed to leave for treatment after this took place?
Literally a few days after. We did the this happened at the school. This prayer happened, and immediately, the next day or whatever, we took the exit MRIs from San Diego to transfer down to Florida, and the tumor, the area where the tumor was, I guess, shrunk down so much that they claimed that I was cancer free, and I didn't really have to worry about going to Florida.
So this imaging took place after the experience on the field.
Correct.
And so you didn't have to do this experimental treatment. What happened after that? Because, we need to reiterate that you're now 23 years old. So, I mean, you have been around for a really long time, and you're in really good health, and everything is stable. You look really good. There is no evidence of the cancer. So is that kind of the trajectory that your life took on after that? Or were there a couple other hiccups and bumps in the road?
There were some hiccups and bumps in the road, but cancer. I was given the cancer free, the green light, the go live life, and that's what I did. So after graduating high school, I went on to pursue earn my undergrad degree in communication with a minor in sport management, and then fell in love with that curriculum. So I went on to pursue my master's degree at Texas A&M in sport management, and give back and try. And I started this foundation through my story, and what we do is we try to give back, and we donate Apple iPads to children with cancer.
So now, Nicole, I'll jump over to you really quickly. So there was a movie, and I want to preface why we're talking about this, because there's a movie that came out called Miracle at Manchester based on this story, and it stars Dean Cain and Eddie McClintock. How did this come about based on the experience? Did all of a sudden you guys just get a knock on the door one day and somebody said, hey, we got wind of what took place on this football field? I mean, how did this come up that they wanted to make a movie of this?
Well, I definitely think this will be a question for Rick, but I want to touch on what you just said about his trajectory real quick. This miracle, definitely something happened there at that stadium that day. And there were bumps afterwards. There's things that go along as most people know with treatment for cancer. So there are other issues that, arose. So we will always just have to face those and keep our faith and everything. But it's a great story and a great movie to highlight what the power of a community and what the power of belief is. So, when I know that the video for what happened at the stadium went very viral, all over saw it. And I think people started reaching out, and it became something that maybe Rick and some other people started talking about, how can we bring this to a larger audience, right? Because it's a great story for anything, to believe like that and to have a community stand behind someone is amazing, especially day and time. So, they got this idea to recreate it and kind of create the story around it, which was, I think the story really highlights the struggle that Rick had with his faith. And it shows it from really kind of his perspective of like what he was seeing. And, I think it did a good job in that way of showing how you can, as a parent especially, lose some faith when you're going through an ordeal that you don't think is fair. But who are we to, question? But it did feel unfair. And I think you see in the movie, if you watch the movie, his challenges of dealing with believing while watching this, your child struggle through all of this. And it was interesting to make. We'll say, glad it's out there. I'm glad that it's led to what it has led to, which I think is maybe the calling that Bryson needed to go down, or all of us, to give back, But yeah, how it came about, I think, was just really the interest that it got online from the actual miracle that took place.
So, Bryce, let me jump to you. I mean, this movie, so somebody had videotaped it and it goes viral, which is how a lot of moments happen. And, fast forward, and now all of a sudden a movie is being made, and, it's Eddie McClintock and Dean Cain are in this movie, and you're watching this production unfold. I mean, what was going through your head as they were making this movie that they're making a movie about my life, about my journey through this? I mean, what was going through your head?
Right. It was, it was crazy. It was surreal going, having other people play my parents, like they're right here. And I was like, they're right here. Like, and the other people play like me and my friends. I'm like, I could just like call my buddies. Like, what is, like, they can, hop on a flight down here or whatever. It was so special. Just being able to, share my story, kind of get a platform, for a more sturdy platform for launching my foundation, and trying to give back to other people and really inspire hope and share the message that the power of prayer is very powerful.
So before we jump to the foundation, and we'll be getting ready to wrap here soon, what is your health status currently? Where are you in this journey currently, so that others who are navigating a brain cancer journey can kind of take away from what you're experiencing? Where are you in your health journey now with us?
Yeah, so I've had, after I was given the green light that, cancer, I was cancer free. I have had some hiccups, some side effects from treatments. For instance, my eye and all that stuff, my depth perception, is tricky, and there's some other equilibrium, components that aren't great, aren't what they used to be. And I have these things that they monitor, that the doctors and my medical team kind of monitor in my head. So I do occasionally, every 9 to 12 months, have to go in and get MRIs and other scans to check on that still. But other than that, cancer-free, living life, trying to eat as healthy as possible. I know when I was initially diagnosed, my diet needed to change dramatically. I definitely needed to cut out sugar, and so now, I'm trying to eat like healthy, like whole organic foods and stuff like that, and really flip my diet 360 kind of thing, or 180.
You make me feel really guilty about the ice cream I had last night.
Don't feel guilty. Again, it's all, you do your best.
I know, right? I have heard that nutrition can play a pivotal role in our brain health. But it's just such a powerful story. And, for anybody who is watching this, I will have some images and pictures and stuff up about how this transpired, but it really was like this immediate response. The body, the brain just had this immediate response to this event that took place on the field where everybody laid hands on you and prayed and showed you immense love and immense faith. And Bryce, I can only imagine that had to have solidified your belief in, okay, yeah, you've got this. You've got this.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely did. I wholeheartedly believe that, my faith and whatever, like that God had a major role in my health.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have an event like that take place and not have it be a larger sign, especially when you didn't know it was coming. And so you talk about, and we mentioned this at the top of the show, this Miracle Children's Foundation that you started. Tell us a little bit about what it is you provide to children, to families, how you guys support their journey through the foundation, the work of the foundation.
Right. So, like I was saying, it was the movie and me sharing my story really gave me a better platform to launch this foundation. And what we do that has always been instilled in me and giving back, and being an athlete, playing baseball and playing other sports, playing everything with a ball is playing every sport with a ball is what I like to say. But I always knew that things are bigger than myself. There's no I in team, that kind of thing. And so I wanted to always give back. This foundation, we donate Apple iPads to children fighting childhood cancer. It's a really big deal. These iPads are definitely, obviously, you got the entertainment factor, playing games or watching, updated movies and stuff. But I think what is more important is the educational features of it. Classrooms and your teachers or whatever can post online, classwork or assignments or homework or whatever it is. And you can still keep up to date with your education. And then social factors is a big thing too. Texting, FaceTime, whatever it is, can connect with your friends, family, loved ones, your community, teammates, whatever. So it's a huge tool.
That's amazing. It's, it doesn't take much, it's those little things that are so powerful and impactful in somebody else's life. I will have the website up for anybody who is interested in the work that you guys are doing at the foundation. My last question to you is, how do you bring joy into your life every day? What do you do to remind yourself of those little things that give you joy in the here and now, in today?
I think, one of my joys was, staying passionate about sports, loving baseball, loving football, whatever it is, keeping that true to, how I was and how I am. And another passion of mine is giving back. Again, that mentality of there's no I in team kind of thing. You gotta work with others and give back when you can, because it's important intrinsic value that I have. I think those keep me passionate about what I do with the foundation, and what I'm hopefully going to do with my career.
You're really a remarkable human being. And, Nicole, to you and to Richard, who has disappeared, but
That's that.
both of you, I'm so grateful to you guys for sharing your piece of this journey and your story. This is just it's a great reminder to everybody who's out there that sometimes, we don't always need to know why. We don't always need to have the answer, but it's just a great show of that there is something greater than us out there. Sometimes there are just things that cannot be explained, and we don't need to go looking for a reason to explain them. And this is one of those stories. And at a time of year when there are a lot of triggers and a lot of hardships for many, many people, this is one of those stories where the power of hope and the power of faith really do resonate. They are abundant. They are all around us. And if we're willing to just, my favorite saying is, all it takes is the faith the size of a mustard seed.
Yep.
You don't need a lot. You just need a little bit. And sometimes that's all we need to get us through. And God's plan eventually becomes clear. And we aren't going to know it right away. We might not even know it all at once. But there is a plan, and that is comforting. It is comforting to know that there is a plan, even when things are hard. And for you, Bryce, I mean, you still have challenges. You still have some hiccups that you have to walk through, but you are thriving and surviving and giving back, and you've found this purpose and this meaning in the struggle of what you went through, and you're doing it beautifully. And I think that in and of itself is an amazing message.
Agreed.
Thank you.
So thank you guys so much for joining us today, for sharing this piece of your story. For those who want to watch the movie, it's a beautiful, beautiful story. It's a tearjerker. It's available. You can stream it online, and we will have links to it up on our site. We will also have the link to the website from Miracle Children's Foundation and the great work that is being done there. And we will definitely be reaching back out to you guys to have you guys back on down the road, because I think that there is a lot of opportunity in the work that you guys do. And I'm very grateful to have come across your story and to share this with so many others that are battling some really hard circumstances right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with that, everybody, we will be right back. You've been listening to the Game on Glio podcast, the podcast that is designed to educate, advocate, and tell the real stories of those walking the journey of brain cancers such as glioblastoma and grief and loss. Like what you hear? Share us with others. Follow us on Instagram at Game on Glio Podcast, Facebook at Game on Glio, or visit our website or YouTube channel. You can find us anywhere podcasts are played.